done him a favor because he's going to get these type of questions. He's got to be sharp, and I think he did really well. So let's get straight into the interview because it's a long one.
Given
it's interesting. Interesting. So let's watch.
We've had the week in Britain that we've just had. You're Jewish, you're from Manchester. Your reactions to the last week?
I mean, there's no other authentic reaction other than to say this has been horrific. I'm from the Jewish community. I grew up near the synagogue. I went to synagogue close to the area, and I went to school near the synagogue. And to see what happened, the terrorist attack.
Can you see this word down here? Like, if you're an editor of a TV station or a show producer, whatever, you require editors or whatever. Why is that word there? Why would that be the go-to word to describe anything in terms of this conversation? Because it means something, right? It's a. You all use AI, I hope, or you know what AI is. Token prediction, right? So this fucking editor token predicted the word author. Now, the reason why this is important, the author, God, I can't even fucking say it. Fascist cunts. That's a better way to say it instead of authoritarianism. I can't say it. No. That word. Anyway. Also, I'm too stoned and drunk. I can't say it. I admit that fact. I am one brain cell. Anyway, but the point is, right now, this video, you're like, why are these American ladies on this video? Well, if I make you tiny, because I can. This thing here is interesting because we all can see what's happening in the United States. Like, if you're literally that uneducated, you can't tell the difference or see the similarities, I should say, of Nazi Germany and the rise of Hitler or Mussolini, take your pick. Then I wonder, like, did you ever, like, could you, like, what age did you learn to tie your shoelace then? Because that's creepy, I think. Because we can all see the United States is a bit of a mad shithole. So I want to play a little bit of this as well. And the lady, my left, your right, maybe, I don't know. It's called Jennifer Welch. But she's actually, I think, she does a better job with a friend. I think her name is Beth. I think. Don't hold me to that. But anyway, two elderly ladies, not elderly ladies, just mature ladies, women, whatever. They literally do more job of, like, saying how shit is than politicians, which is bizarre. Listen to this.
As it pertains to people in rural America, I have empathy for them because, like, people in Oklahoma, the only thing they have in their rural communities is church. And these MAGA politicians, let's just take our governor, Governor Kevin Stitt, who I refer to as Governor Dipshit. Governor Dip.
That's brilliant. Governor Dipshit. Like, she's basically white America saying this is strange. And in our stupid country, we have this plank over here. Ask them, I wouldn't say similar questions, but of the same magnitude in sense of, like, is anyone fucking paying attention? And then listen to this. And this is by Anthony Jones. I'm not shitting on him, so give him a subscribe. Clearly I haven't, but give him a like. Anyway, he covered it. I don't really want to talk about his video in per se of his opinion, because well, everyone's got a fucking opinion, so it doesn't matter. But I'm trying to cover the video that he's covering at the same time. If that makes any sense. So I'm hijacking his video for educational purposes. I've got nothing against the dude, so just making that clear.
On our soil has been deeply both personal and political.
Oh, and the guy you can hear talking is from the Green Party. He's the new Green Party leader, basically.
At the same time, as a political leader and as an elected member of the London Assembly, some of the work I'm proudest of is interfaith work. And I'm also aware at the same time of the arson at the mosque last night. And I think all of these are reminders that when the forces around the right and the far right come for minority communities, they come for all of us. And actually, the most important response is solidarity.
What are your reactions to the Home Secretary's this morning proposals on the right to protest? I mean, she's talking about the idea of trying to give the police more powers.
The right to protest. It sounds like they wrote the Bible. You got a right to protest. No, I can't. You didn't give me it, bro. I just can. Like, this is the misconception of reality. Like, they frame rights as some, like, thing given. No, it's a claim. It's not given. You give me my rights. I fucking took it back, you bitch. People, like, fucking doomed to be fucking stupid forever. Literally, though. Oh, it's my right. Fucking stupid if you ask me. Like, who the fuck put who else in charge to give me a right in the first place? When I was born, I didn't see Jesus saying sign this contract. These are your rights. Unless I'm missing something in your fucking virtual fucking insanity. Quoted by Mr. Jamiroquai himself.
To enforce some restrictions on repeated protests. Hard not to conclude, she denied this to me, but it's hard not to conclude that she's got the Gaza protests in mind with regards to this. What do you think of these proposals?
I think it's deeply irresponsible. I think it's looking to crush dissent. And actually, so I don't repeat too much what your listeners have just heard, I think Baroness Varsi spoke really fluently on this, that this cannot be about turning communities against each other. I've just talked about, as a Jewish man, how I feel about the terrorist attack. That's a completely different conversation to the same horror that I feel deeply to the genocide in Gaza. We know.
Oh, wow. A politician that actually said, I can use more than one fucking brain cell at the same time. Impressive shit. Why are we supposed to be impressed by, like, logic and fucking reasoning? Is it because you're being spoon-fed so much fucking utter shite that people think insanity is the norm? I mean, I blame Gen Z, to be honest with you. They think they think having a YouTube channel is a job. You know why you get so much shit on YouTube? Because people get paid by a corporation to talk utter shit. 99% of what you watch is profits. Most of the other shit is some random ass guy like me talking waffle or whatever. Like, really, I've seen the internet since it's, well, I wouldn't say conception, I'm not that fucking old, but since it was popular. So yeah, the internet's just a bottom feeding shit fest of slop right now. You can see it. You got AI crap. You got, like, these people just selling shit with shorts. I mean, they're all just chasing money. You even have videos about people saying, how much money did I make on YouTube this month? And people think, oh, that's a job. No, it's fucking not. Fucking what? No, a job's getting off your ass and doing something fucking useful with your life, apart from selling yourself like a car salesman. That's what the internet is. It's just many, many, many car salesmen of different varieties. Some car salesmen have tits, don't you know? I mean, wow, who would have thought? A car salesman that has a pair of boobs. You can pick any category you wish on the internet and put it in YouTube and then see how funny it gets. They're all just trying to ride the algorithm. Every single video I watch, most of the time, no offense, has a fucking advert inside of it. Do I not pay YouTube so I don't need to see adverts? Yes. Then why the very people who say, we've got no money, I'm begging you for money, give me money, or give me an advert? The last time I checked, all you need is an internet connection and a fucking webcam. If you can't afford that, then why are you in business in the first place? That's a strange question. Well, a very simple question, but a strange one. You're not a business on the internet. You're a scam artist, basically. A donation, I think, is different. If you say, could you donate? That's like a tramp on the street saying, can I have a tenner? Or a pound? Or whatever the fuck it is. You can choose. That's different. But when you're begging, it's a bit weird. You know, with these lines like, without you, we couldn't do this any longer. Shut up. How did you start? You started at 0 people. So how did you begin your channel? Like, well, that makes no fucking sense. I'm just saying. Anyway, waffle. This guy is talking the truth. And it's so weird that people don't notice the difference between what this guy's saying and what's happening on the crazy side of the pond called America. Ugh. And I'll get back to that. Anyway, let's listen. I fucking should. Go.
There's, on average, the equivalent of a classroom of children who are massacred every single day. Of course, it's not just children, it's adults too. And so many people in this country, increasingly so, are looking at our British government's role in this genocide and are wanting to go out on the streets in a non-violent way and march, something which has been a proud British tradition ever since we've had a democracy from a...
Can I just point out, this is the leader of a political party in the United Kingdom. And he's Jewish. Like, just listen to what he's saying, please. I mean, I'm not religious whatsoever. I think religion is bad in general. I just think it's a waste of energy. But that's my opinion. If you want to believe in Space Daddy, Space King, fine. Whatever. Up to you, right? As long as you don't harm anybody or try and impose your belief on anybody else via law, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? I like a secular country. So that's what I'm saying. This guy is saying the same shit I would say. And I'm not even religious. He's just making fucking common sense at this point, right?
Suffragettes to the civil rights movement. And I think it speaks of a government that is losing control, a government that is terrified of being criticized, and a government that actually, or a leadership that knows it's on its way out. And so I'd call on the government and the Home Secretary to do the right thing, both in terms of stop selling arms to Israel and allow people to protest. There was a protest recently with pots and pans where people were protesting against the famine in Palestine. And actually the reason given by the police for stopping this protest was it might disturb businesses.
What do you think the British...
This is going to cause a massive backlash. If they carry out...
Now, this is where I do have to disagree. You know, the backlash, in my opinion, what the guy was saying. I think we need to understand, well, the environment we find ourselves in. Now, people are asking, how did the right wing become more prevalent in British society? Now, if I was Russian, what's the only way to destabilize Britain? What's a big chunk of the population of Britain? What are they? We can all admit it. We used to call them the BNP, National Front. Do you think these people die? No, they clearly inbreed their fucking hatred into their kids. So, they exist. Like, it's a chunk of people. No jokes. If you change the narrative, which Russians are very good at, right? What the Russians don't, I mean, they will kill you, clearly. We've seen that on the streets of England. But they're better at putting you in compromising positions, right? We know what that means, especially Trump. He's a hobo anyway, so it was easy to blackmail that guy. I mean, fucking hell. He's not even a Manchurian candidate. He's literally fucking, like, Russia's taking a piss. They're like, we made that thing over there. And now we've lost control because it's lost its fucking mind. Russia. Oh, whatever. Do I need to go into the Russian? Okay. Yes. I suppose I should. Why am I showing these videos? It's because the alternative to the Labour Party in the United Kingdom is actually the far right. Shitting on Labour is pretty impressive. Like the volume I've seen of the left, like going at Labour is mental. Like, okay, let's say Labour's not in government. Would you like the Tories in government? No. Oh, I prefer Nigel Farage. Really? Are you literally being serious at this point? So, the country has three choices. Labour, the fucking Tories, the people we just kicked out for being fucking garbage. And you're saying, well, we don't like this bunch, let's go with the fucking nutters. No. That means we've reached peak America. Peak America. Fucking peak. So, this left and right thing is a propaganda tool by the Russians to cause division. They did it in the United States already. Compact Plus. Shit's there. Like, all the left-wing people are so shit at their jobs. Why? Because they don't get money. Who paid all the right-wingers like Tim Pool? Who paid them? Oh yeah, Russia did, right? Yeah, okay. And you don't think they're not doing it in the United Kingdom? Come on, please.
On with this, with the prescribed Palestine action, so-called terrorists, optically it makes Labour look stupid. 89-year-old blind people being arrested, old people in wheelchairs. Doesn't look good for Labour. And then you've got this cracking down essentially on these, obviously Palestine.
Can I just ask though, like logically, why the fuck is an 89-year-old protesting? Like, how? Why? In a wheelchair? Yeah. I mean, she should be at home so she doesn't fucking die, not fucking protesting. 80 fucking 9. Jesus Christ. Like, why is she so arsed? Protesting at 89. Terrible. Someone should get sued for taking it outside. She should be in a nice warm house, in a bungalow, having a cup of tea. Also, no. Not protesting. The whole protesting thing is weird. Or wild, anyway. Like, oh, people protested. Yeah, that's what people tend to do, right? But it's not like, it doesn't capture the mood of a nation. Give you a good example. People protested about all kinds of shit, really. But it took the consensus of a nation to change the law. Right? There's the difference, my friend. The reason why clickbait exists is because simple humans like simple things. Sadly. Correlation, my friend.
Pro-Palestine marches, anti-genocide marches. There's going to be a huge backlash. And this should be from the right. I can even almost see this, although they are hypocrites and they don't care about freedom of speech. This is trying to suppress criticism of Labour's complicity in genocide. You saw it with Owen Jones questioning MPs. They're in denial, even though they voted to recognise a genocide. Labour are done. If they crack down on protests, Labour are done. They're already done, but they're going to be really done.
I love the guy's enthusiasm, but okay. Who replaces Labour then? Is he magically gonna appear a new fucking party to take? I don't think so. He's basically inadvertently doing Russia's job. You have to be literally fucking stupid to think what the alternative is at this point. What is the alternative to Labour? Even if they are garbage in some respects. Who replaces Labour? Who's in the polls at the moment at the top? Exactly. This fucker's advocating for fucking Nigel Farage. That's what he's doing. And he doesn't even know what he's fucking doing. Stupid cunt.
The Home Secretary earlier was around this quite remarkable invitation from the Israeli government to Tommy Robinson, or an Israeli minister, to Tommy Robinson to go and speak in Israel, saying that he had been a defender, effectively, of British values against what they called as Islamic fascism or Islamism.
Tommy Robinson got invited to Israel. Like, can this get any more Monty Python? Like, seriously, I'm smoking ganja, drinking beer, and this sounds fucking nuttery on so many levels. I can't even, like, so a far-right mad cunt gets invited to a far-right mad cunt country. Oh, that makes sense, actually. I'll keep smoking ganja. Never mind.
What do you think the British government should do about that?
I think they should call it out. I think in the same way that we had 150,000 people march on the streets, and the Prime Minister didn't seem to do or say anything at all. In fact, his response was to change the rules around indefinite leave to remain. It wasn't just a dog whistle, it was practically a foghorn. Look, this is ultimately about leadership and how we speak to people in this country. And this was a moment of all moments for the Prime Minister to get the lectern out, to be outside number 10, to have that moment of speaking to the country. Of
Well, he called Farage a racist. Surely you'd welcome that? Or he said that the policy, I should say, was racist.
Well, he finally got there in the end, but he had...
I mean, to be fair, anybody with fucking no fat, Nigel Farage, he's not a racist, he's an elitist. They are different, by the way. You see, when you're an elitist, you don't give a fuck what colour anybody is. As long as they're better, as long as you're better than them. So they don't even care anyway, right? So, people like Nigel Farage don't fucking care. If you're black, that's fine. Are you rich? Well, I don't really care. You're not richer than me, so just do whatever. You need to be really stupid not to know this stuff, really. But anyway, I mean, he's calling it out, so I give him props, being Mr. Green Party leader. Like, he sounds like a normal fucking human. And this ties back into the whole theory of, I can't say, fucking Nazis, fascism. The word starting with A. Authoritarianism.
Actually should have called Farage a racist, and I think it's about time we start to call people who and what they are. Now, that doesn't mean...
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I mean, God bless him, the racist that he is. Does anybody remember Question Time with the former leader of the BNP, Nick Griffin? I mean, come on, people. Why such short memories? Fucking weird, don't you think? Anyway, continue good, sad dude, person.
Anyone voting for reform is necessarily a racist. It means that some racists, in fact most racists, will be voting for reform. We need to have complexity and nuance in this conversation. But it just feels like the
since you mentioned, I mean, fair enough. I was going to come to this a bit later, but since you mentioned complexity and nuance, you've described Nigel Farage as a fascist. Now, fascism, the last time I checked, involved ultra-authoritarian nationalism, the suppression of...
But it is. I mean, be honest with yourself. When was the last time you needed to, like, wave a fucking flag? Like, honestly. I mean, I probably did it when I was drunk. During the Euros. St. George's Cross and that. I mean, I was drunk and stoned, clearly. But, I mean, bit of pride in your nation, you know, playing footy. Any other day, couldn't give a fuck. Now, if my country was invaded by a bunch of Russians or whoever, proper ones, not little dudes on boats, that's not an invasion. Come on, that's not an invasion. Anyway, proper ones like battleships and that, a proper war, a proper invasion, not some fucking make-believe thing where dinghies are invading Britain, you twat. I mean, we have nuclear submarines, what do you think? Fucking, oh my, anyway. Yes, for king and country and flag, or queen. Whoever's, you know, the representative of my crazy little land. Yes, I would die for my fellow people. Not so much the flag, because the flag, it's like saying you live here. That's all it does, really. It's just a fucking place of origin. It doesn't mean shit, really, when you think about it. It's just so you don't forget that you actually exist somewhere on a planet which is very big. That's why we give people. That's when we have names, location, all that shit. Oh, where are you from? The United Kingdom. Some humans can get confused and think, what is that? Because if you look at the United Kingdom, it's not exactly one country, is it? No, it's a mixture of weirdness, kind of shit. Whatever. Anyway, so we keep going because I'm fucking getting stoned and drunker. Oh, by the way, my AI system is the best, and I think I got banned from Grok for actually saying I hacked Cloudflare, but whatever, that's a different story for another day.
Dissent, a single-party state, a cult of personality, and the use of violence or paramilitarism to achieve its end. Which of those criteria would you...
Again, fascism has changed since the 20th century. This is disingenuous, but also a good
It hasn't changed. It's still the same. I think that's a weird way to say it, isn't it? Fascism has changed. No, it hasn't. The messaging got smarter, but the actual thing itself is an ideology. You don't change an ideology, bro. What you do is you change the messaging of the said ideology, which is called propaganda. And who's famous for doing the best propaganda, one would ask, in recent history? The Russians, yes. You won 10 golden little bars of chocolate that don't exist. Just assume they exist. Russia was pronounced. Well, it was the best at doing propaganda. Soviet Russia. So yeah, what do you think they're doing now? Why do you think the far right is more prominent than it was before? Because it was made to be by social media. A bit weird, don't you think?
question, because people are going to ask this question. Is Nigel Farage a fascism?
Yeah, he is, because his idea of capitalism is fascism. Like, literally. The guy was a banker, remember? Like, he traded shit. Doesn't give a fuck.
I think Zach's answer is pretty good, actually.
say Nigel Farage satisfies?
I think most of them are on the way if you actually listen to the things that he's saying. Also,
What, a single-party state? He's not proposed to abolish British democracy. That's absurd.
Did Hitler do that? Did Hitler propose that, though? This isn't how fascism works. And there's a real misunderstanding of what fascism is, because it doesn't come walking down the street goose-step.
No, it doesn't. It comes through ignorance. I hope one day people literally read The Art of War. Like, read it. What he's partaking in, this guy here, down here, he's partaking in the same shit. Because he's trying to say what fascism is, while saying, let's get rid of the Labour Party and put the fascists in charge. Pick a team. All Labour perfect? No. Do you want to be a fascist? No. Who are you going to vote for? That's the fucking point. You're literally telling people to vote the idiots into power by being so fucking amazed that you have a government. Give me any example where our governments have ever actually been, I don't know, fucking 100% correct all the time, every time. Tony Blair won an election after he invaded Iraq illegally. Let that sink in, please. In your fucking little brain. Let that sink in. America literally voted for a criminal to be the president of the United States. a convicted felon. Pick a team. A fucking serious point. Pick a fucking team. Fascist or not fascist.
With tanks. Now fascism, 21st century fascism is very different. It's dog whistles. It is ultranationalism, anti-immigration. He wants to ban critical race theory and trans ideology from universities. His enemy is the left. Just because they coat it in softer language. Again, Trump support? January the 6th? You think Nigel Farage was condemning Trump over that?
Well, he's not yet, but also during Brexit, when you think about take back control, some of the themes that were in there all seem to be speaking.
You think that Brexit was about the consolidation and the creation of a single party state?
I think Brexit was ultimately about protecting the wealth of multimillionaires and billionaires.
Yeah, but that's different. No, you're changing the conversation there, Zapolensky. I've just asked you about how you think Nigel Farage satisfies the criteria of fascism, one of which involves a really key one, the creation of a single party state. What has Nigel Farage said or done?
Not necessarily. It is more nuanced.
It's not nuanced. If most of the population of the United Kingdom don't vote in most fucking elections, which they don't, who wins the election? The minority does. I mean, it's not rocket science at this point, it's just basic fucking arithmetic. If nobody votes, or I should say, if the majority doesn't vote, who wins the election? Ta-da! Brexit was weird. It said highest turnout ever. Yeah, whatever. If you look at the data, more people didn't vote than did vote. That's why it was weird. And also, when you have an election, everybody in this country can vote, but it's not against the law not to vote. So most people don't give a fuck and then read the newspaper. Get the point. So when all these fucking wafflers are fucking waffling about waffling shit, not really paying attention to the actual fucking scenario that's being literally played out in front of them. Good example. Sorry, can't just smoke a spliff and drink beer. A government spokesperson would tell you, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and that's bad. Households should be like the government. That is the biggest fucking stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard from any politician who suggests that. Because first of all, explain to me how a family, an average family, one man, one woman, and one child can literally print their own fucking money. There you go. That's the logical fucking question I'm asking. When can a family print its own fucking money? It can't. So it relies on the state to issue the currency that the people rely on to survive in a system where money is king. People have this shit backwards. It's not even fucking funny. Why do you pay interest to a bank? Because they need to make money. That makes no sense. What do you mean a bank needs to make money? Well, think about it. Who owns the bank? Corporation. What's a corporation? It's an entity that someone created, or they created, or whatever, to facilitate being rich. It's literally that simple. If you go in slavery terms, which is fucking even weirder, everybody blames nations for slavery, which actually isn't the case. If you look, well, I mean, I give a famous point because I'm English, I know this shit. If you look up the East India Corporation, or whatever, or any corporation for that matter, actually, they themselves were the slave traders, not the actual governments. The governments only allowed it because it made them fucking money. It wasn't, no country ever sent an army, ever, in the history of humans. Well, that's not some word anyway. To literally go and abduct people and sell them. Ever. But yeah, if you watch YouTube, you would think, oh, it was countries doing slavery. No. It was corporations. And you're like, oh, I can't get a job. Because you're a slave. That's why you can't get a job. Like, that's not rocket science. If you had your own land and a farm, and you could live normality, or whatever, without the bullshit we call technology these days, would you require money? One would ask. No, you wouldn't. Why do you need permission to live on planet Earth? Bit mad, isn't it? So I need to be legally aware of my own suppression. That's a brilliant concept, isn't it? Not.
Again, then what fascism was in the 20th century. You think Viktor Orban is kind of, they have some virtue signals and they do have elections, but it is authoritarian. It's a fascist state. China pretends to be a democracy. Putin pretends to be this kind of open guy. Sometimes they even have elections. Would you say he's fascist? Yes, pretty authoritarian.
Which would indicate any legitimacy to the idea that he's in favour of a single-party state.
Well, I was about to finish with what I was saying, which is when you have excess power in this country and wealth, which often come together, when that utilizes working class resentment, you don't have to be a historian to know there are many times in the history when that's exactly when fascism begins. Now, it does not begin, as people say, in jackboots. It doesn't begin always with militarism. It actually begins with the kind of rhetoric we're saying. So if you're asking me, is Nigel Farage in full-blown fascist rhetoric? Absolutely not. But if you actually listen
and no, that's because that's why he's so effective, because he does coat it in language, dog whistles, fig leaves, obfuscation. You think he learned the lessons from the BNP? We know that. He professionalized the far right. He proudly boasted that he seen off the far right BNP and they've made it acceptable, mainstream. And obviously that's what fascists are going to do. They're not going to go around. Like, only the dumbest Nazis would admit to being Nazis. They don't. They will dog whistle. They'll be like, oh no, I've got no problem. And then you talk to them and it's soon problems of Jews, problem with global cabals, problem with the Great Replacement theory. We need to have a nuanced debate about fascism.
Lewis, you're someone who listens very closely to the things he's saying. He's constantly echoing things that have happened in history. And by the way, in this conversation, Keir Starmer doesn't get off lightly either. If you're going to go on stage and quote Enoch Powell, now he says he didn't know that's what he was doing, or that's not what he meant.
I said this earlier on. People were like, what? I think Keir Starmer is Neville Chamberlain. For real. I think that's what he is. I think he's Neville Chamberlain. I don't think he understands the problem. But I don't want Churchill either, because he was a fucking cunt too. Yeah, save the country, won't lie. Clearly. But he was still a monk. No offense to the monks. But yeah. So what are we gonna get next? Andy Burnham? I mean, fuck's sake, really. I mean, can we just elect Tony fucking Blair again then, please? I mean, that's like, I don't understand the English a lot of the time. Yeah, people get confused and say there's a left in England or the UK. There isn't. There's the centre right, and then there's everybody else. Like, literally. People think Margaret Thatcher was like, right. No, she wasn't, bro. She was a fucking neoliberal cunt. And the ones who came before him were just fucking the same kind of ass suits anyway. The further go you back, the more racist you go, right? So that makes perfect sense. Now though, we've got a simple choice. Do we want fucking Keir, fucking, I don't even know what to describe Keir Starmer, to be honest with you. I should probably do a deep dive on Keir Starmer's like brain. In terms of political shit though, is he worse or better than Nigel Farage? I'm gonna say he's just better than Nigel Farage. No. You can complain and go, oh, but it's still shit. I agree. Probably. I feel let down by Angela Rayner, who once told me she's going to build lots of houses, green ones, when she went 11. I didn't think she meant herself, to be honest with you. It's just quite funny. I feel I want to troll Angela Rayner with that clip, but I won't. I feel bad. Anyway. But yeah, hey, politicians will be politicians. As soon as you get the sniff of money, you know what I'm saying? They go all fucking weird and shit. Don't know.
I don't believe that for a second. Does anyone-
But Zapatansky, you're the one who said that we need to have more nuance and complexity in our conversations, and yet you're the
Yes,
I'm from the
he has given nuanced debate on that. He's given nuanced discussion on fascism. You're giving this old 20th century fascism. Fascism has changed, and it's an idiosyncratic ideology. It manifests in different ways. Although we all see
I think he misunderstands the word I can't say it that way either. He's fucking missing the point. It hasn't changed. The messaging changes. Propaganda is a style of communication. Thankfully, I studied linguistics, so I understand what I'm talking about. I mean, Jesus, that's mad, isn't it? I can say linguistics. I can't say any other word. Yeah. Anyway. The messaging changed. It wasn't the ideology. The ideology is, yeah, I mean, it literally says what it does on the tin, basically. But the messaging does change. And even our democracy is a facade, by the way. When people say we live in a democracy, it means we agree not to kill each other. That's what that means. Democracy. Fucking crazy, right? We agree to follow rules that we agree seem logical. That's a democracy. A dictatorship is I tell you what to do and you fucking do it. That's different. Fascism is you're doing what we think you should do by telling you that you shouldn't do it, but do it anyway, or there'll be serious consequences. It's like a mind fuck, really. So fascism is a psychological warfare on a human being or a population, where a dictatorship is do as I say, basically, and a democracy is happy land where everyone agrees not to kill each other because that's kind of a logical output of existence. Like, if we all went around with no laws and shit, I mean, it get pretty funny pretty quick. So we agree with each other that the law should be fair for everybody because we all agree that we're fucking kind of crazy as individuals. And we might break laws, do weird shit, okay, fine. Then as long as you treat that guy the same as that guy over there, we've got no issue. Get the point. So it's more like universal coherence, one would say. But now, that logical coherence is used as a weapon, which we call propaganda. Because everybody loves the internet, and people think the internet is money. So, therefore, it must be true. Bad axiom, bad logical conclusion. Clearly, go back to school. Just saying.
tendencies with Modi, with Putin, Trump, Bolsonaro, Viktor Orban. There is similarities here. Farage has a relationship with the far right, the AfD, and pretty fascist people across the world. Putin is his most admired leader. We need to call it what it is. We do. We've let them kind of just become normalized. Let fascism become normalized. We need to scrutinize this.
Either if you're going to go on stage and
The normalization is greed, isn't it? Because people have got attention spans like goldfishes. Most videos like 10 minutes long. You got shorts. Can I say, oh, you watch? Yes, I do. Okay, so I'm in the shithole too. But if people are just like most of the time just chilling on the internet or whatever, you're not gonna see important shit really. To be honest, or like at least have a good understanding. They're probably just fucking doing weird other shit, you know. So I think the messaging, I think the mainstream media has totally failed all of our nations because they're being bought by corporations. I mean, it literally says British Broadcasting. What's the last word? Corporation. Who the fuck is its shareholders? Oh, you say the British public are the shareholders. Well, I don't feel like I'm getting value for money. First of all, I pay for it. What am I getting? The news. Okay. So how about we just scrap all that other shit down, and let's have an option of a subscription service. Why is the only country on planet Earth who literally fucking invented the Industrial Revolution is still one of, I think, 2 countries on the planet? I think there's like 2 of us left, which is our draconian ass and some other random place I can't even fucking remember. I paid to watch the telly or a monitor. That makes no fucking sense. Why am I paying you? I could give half of that money to the National Health Service. In fact, all of it, and I wouldn't even care. But you're telling me I have to watch? I'm forced to pay for entertainment I don't even watch or the news. I literally don't use the BBC. Why do I need to pay for it then? It's fucking stupid. It's a weird position to be in.
quote Enoch Powell. Now, he says he didn't know that's what he was doing, but that's not what he meant. I don't believe that for a second.
But Zapatansky, you're the one who said that we need to have more nuance and complexity in our conversations, and yet you're the one calling Nigel Farage a fascist. Not only do you call Nigel Farage a fascist, you said in your conference speech, accusing Labour politicians of, quote, being active participants in the murdering of Palestinians. So they're murderers, you think?
I think if you sell weapons and bombs that you know are raining on people day in and day out, then I think that's a war crime, and I think you should take responsibility.
So you're saying that the...
Not only that, but deny the genocide. Many Labour politicians, we saw it with Owen Jones's conference coverage, are denying there's a genocide going on.
This actually gets on my tits when people say genocide. Not because people are dying. It's just... where was anybody when Rwanda happened? Like, maybe this guy, I mean, he's got a big beard. He must be like clocking my age somewhat. I wonder if he gave a fuck about Rwanda. I don't know. A lot of people shout genocide. Where were you at Rwanda? This makes me laugh, really. Waffle, waffle.
So it's not just we're giving them the parts for F-35 fighter jets, which is a war crime. With, I think, the 4th biggest arms seller. I mean, producer in the world after America, China, Russia, and then the UK. Yes, we have blood on our hands. Obviously, over the last year, when Starmer's been in power, we've been enabling the genocide. This is unambiguous.
The Labour politicians are murderers.
I'm saying that Labour politicians know exactly what they're doing when they vote or when they are continuing not to condemn and not to vote against arms sales.
They've just recognised the Palestinian state. There's a highly, highly regulated regime.
Yes, so they don't have to do real action. They've done that, a meaningless virtue signal, too little too late almost, should have happened 50 years ago, so they don't.
Should that happen 50 years ago? What does that even mean historically? 50 years ago, we should have recognized a Palestinian state. What do you mean before we took over the shit and drew the map? Like, I'm not understanding this fucking thing at all. Who created the state of Israel, one would ask, before making such a statement. So we should have recognized a state of Palestine. Well, after we made the fucking thing called Israel or before it? Can anybody in the comment section name Israel before it was called Israel? I know you wanna
do the real work of condemning Netanyahu, arresting Netanyahu, sanctions, real action that will either at least make an attempt to stop the genocide or hold the right people to account.
Security regime, which you know is complicated because Israel have got difficult relations with some of its enemies, who, by the way, are also our enemies. And yet, despite that fact, you're calling them murderers. Don't you think that politicians ought to be a little bit more careful, you know, particularly in serious positions like yours as the leader of a political party, particularly given all of the political charge and political violence that we're seeing, about using language like fascism and murderers?
Despite the incredulity of your tone, I think anyone can see it is a basic, obvious fact. If you sell weapons to a country that the UN, many genocide scholars are saying are complicit, are active enabling in the genocide, then what I'm saying is complex, it is nuanced, but it's also pretty simple.
They're murderers. It doesn't sound very nuanced, that Polanski, that they're murderers. That is not a nuanced statement.
Give someone a weapon, if your actions give someone a weapon, and that weapon ends in the...
How is that?
He's trying to do this like whole... I get what he's saying. This guy's actually correct. The Green Party guy, by the way, he's actually correct. What he's saying is, in law... Okay, good example. If I give you a gun and commit a crime, then I've also committed a crime, right? Because I gave you the gun. I mean, if you was in a fucking trial, would that make sense? If I gave you the gun and you killed somebody, that would make fucking sense that I should also be prosecuted for providing something that technically killed somebody else. Now, the government can say, yeah, but we can sell. We don't know. Well, the government's idea is, we don't know what other people are going to do with these weapons, so don't blame us. That's basically what they're saying. Don't blame us. We're just selling weapons that kill people. The clue is in the fucking name at this point.
Not nuanced. It is. He's saying the government enabling a genocide. That is nuanced. It is nuanced. It's not a direct murder, but when you're enabling the second most powerful country who could really push back against Israel and Netanyahu, he's not been doing enough. Yes, there is complicity here. It's again obvious.
Deaths of thousands, tens of thousands.
And you know it is a point of contestation where the British government denies that those weapons are being used in that genocide, as you put it. So it is more complicated. And you're the one who talks about complexity and nuance, and then you give a series of statements which aren't complex or nuanced at all.
Well, it's good that we're having a conversation so we can keep the complexity and we can keep the nuance. If you are selling fighter jet components, then it's just not believable when we're seeing this live stream when we're seeing this genocide live streamed on our phones and our TVs, and we always get the answer that the IDF denies it. And Nick Maynard, a doctor, says in Palestine there are bullet wounds in ankles one day, in shoulders another day, in the testicles of teenage boys another day, and the only conclusion you can make is the IDF are using human beings as target practice.
So to keep, I mean, Farage, you say, is a fascist. To keep him out, which I know you've talked about that you would do at all costs, you'd presumably do a deal with Labour.
I would do anything I can to make sure Nigel Farage...
So you do a deal with a bunch of people you think are murderers?
Well, I think the fundamental thing we need to do is lower people's bills and change material living conditions.
Work with murderers.
Well, with murderers. You said the word murderer. This is so low IQ, honestly. It's fucking annoying. Like, think about his response. So you get into bed with Labour because they're murderers. Wait, what? Like, did you not go to school? Like, why are you saying... Why are you confusing the two? You just asked me a question about would I keep Nigel Farage out of power, who's a fascist. But then you're saying, I get in bed with murderers because I believe the United Kingdom's policy, i.e. the Labour Party policy, is inhumane and they're facilitating murder, which is a logical conclusion if you follow the law. Can you not conceive of all these mad, complex fucking notions in your head at one time, or you just literally talking like ChatGTP? I'm fucking confused. I literally said that out loud, stoned. It doesn't seem that confusing. It's called a question. And your brain is big enough to answer all them fucking questions in a gazillionth of a second. Unless you're really fucking slow.
See, I don't think you really do believe they're murderers, because you wouldn't work with them if you thought they were.
Well, I wouldn't work with Keir Starmer, and I've said that several times. I think Keir Starmer has completely lost the trust of the British public, not just on the genocide, but on the two-child benefit cap, on disability benefits. Again, I don't think it's controversial. You can only look at polling to see how much this country is saying this Prime Minister is not standing for people in this country. So no, I wouldn't work with Keir Starmer, but I don't know who a future Labour leader is, and absolutely, we need,
Yeah, Keir Starmer will be gone by next May. And if he's not, Labour are done. Like the Tories.
Okay. Important point, like I just made before. He said Labour are done. Who replaces Labour? You should worry about, I think. Like, as a stoner, I'm contemplating building a spliff, don't you know? It's like, oh my god, how can I get stoned? You should probably build a spliff that would help facilitate you being stoned, correct? Yes. So, who comes next then if there is no Labour Party? I mean, it's kind of a logical question, if you don't mind me saying. So, who's topping the polls? Beep, boop, boopity, boop, boop. Oh, look, UKIP. Not UKIP, sorry. Reform. AKA the National Front. Yeah, they do still exist, people, like I said before. And people get confused, like, oh, we don't have racist parties in the United Kingdom anymore because we don't have the BNP. Yeah, but that wasn't like a choice, though, was it? We didn't choose not to have the BNP. The BNP forgot to renew their license for the name, the British National Party. And somebody else bought the name, so that means they technically can't use the British National Party name anymore. Like, do people not, like, actually see reality, or they just, like, living in fucking, I don't know, Futurama land or some fucking weird shit? Kind of fucking funny, isn't it, really? Anyway, shall we get back to it? Before we go over to our lovely ladies again, which are over here. Because actually, I love this interview. It's actually a really good interview. But anyway, I want to give this guy from the Green Party props, though. He's not doing a bad job. Yeah, I mean, at least he's fucking honest. That makes, and he swears. How fucking weird is it when you hear a politician just say cunt or bastard or it's not fucking normal words. It's sanitized bullshit. Fuck's sake.
These are done. Even though Kemi Badenoch has said she's going to deport 150,000 people, she's going to bring ICE to the UK, even though ICE is really unpopular right now. What the fuck she's doing? She'll be gone again in 6 months plus, maybe even less. Oh, it's insane just how. Again, I think Lewis Goodall is doing him a favour here, but yeah, okay.
Compromise is in the DNA of the Green Party. We want to work with other people. We want a better, more nuanced politics. And I don't think anything I've said in this interview has been unnuanced. I think actually very often, I'm not saying you're doing this, I'm saying
a long time ago, I made a video about Brexit. It's on the channel somewhere. I made a video about Brexit, bro. And people are like, you're fucking crazy. It ain't gonna work that way. I was like, watch it. Because the elections for the Brexit thing was afterwards. I said, if you look at the people who voted for Brexit and you overlay the EU map on the council map, oh, that's who wins the next election. Yeah. Now, I'm going to do the same thing. If people stop voting for Labour, we will get a hung parliament of some kind. The swing's going to be interesting. Labour will just about squeak it, but they will need help from the Lib Dems and the Greens. I don't think the Greens are going to do it as spectacular as he's assuming. But let's say maybe 1-2%. I mean, that's a lot of council seats when you think about it for them. So they can help, but I think the party we need to focus on, if you're a nerd like me, is the Liberal Democrats. I think they're going to be an interesting party to watch because they are the centre right. They are the Liberal Democrats are what the Tories used to be. It's fucking mad. And I don't mean that in like okay, if you don't vote Tory, you vote for the Lib Dems because they're not Labour. That's the point. That's the math. So if your normal Tory voter, loads of them, very nice people, not all of them are complete cunts. But let's say you don't vote Tory, you're like, the next best thing is a posh person who's less of a cunt. So that would be a Lib Dem. And then you got your smelly tramp who's clearly a Labour voter. Or far right, or far left even. You know, a socialist, one of them scary people. I digress. Anyway, so yeah, so that's gonna be a strange one. I think we may get another hung parliament again, and an actual lib lab coalition maybe. I mean, it would make sense, to be fair. It would make sense.
More widely, in the media, these conversations are made to sound more complex than they are. But children, adults are dying every single day. Our country is selling weapons to the state that is killing those people. And so to say that that is a line that ends up in the murder of a people is not an absurd statement. I think it actually is just clearly a statement of truth.
Let's just briefly talk about some of the other policies and the other things you've been saying at your conference. I don't want to just talk with you about through the prism of other politicians, but we're going to talk about your ideas. You've said that we will say it loud, migrants and refugees are welcome here. Is there any limit on the number of refugees and migrants you think should be welcome here?
Well, I think arbitrary limits have never worked, and actually migration is circular. I understand that people are concerned about the amount of people coming here, but as soon as you speak to them, their concerns are about the lack of council houses, the lack of investment in the National Health Service. The sense of this country is breaking, and all of those concerns are correct. We don't have enough council homes. The country isn't run properly, but none of those were problems of migrants. Those were problems of decades of conservative austerity and now Labour austerity. And actually, the answer to all of
So you would welcome 100,000 refugees, 200,000 refugees, 300. You know as well as I do, there are millions of refugees around the world. But as far as you're
Actually, that's a lie. That's misinformation. There's less refugees now than there were 100 years ago. That's a misconception. And there's a lot of paradoxes with immigration. For example, hard borders actually increase immigration. So the more we go hard on immigration,
Okay, this guy makes no sense. Okay. Fact numero uno. We live on a fucking island. Okay. If anyone does like math, just that's one. Okay. It's an axiom. How do we get people to come to our little island? Well, boats, clearly. Now, if we live on an island, that means we're stuck by ourselves, correct? Yes. Unless we have boats or planes or trains. So we've got three modes of transport. Point being is, if the tax system requires your actual fucking life, which it does, it's called insurance, national insurance. So we get taxed because we exist. Strange, yes. Is it strange in a capitalist society where money is the figurehead of communication or some fucking psychological bullshit? Yes. So, we need money. Now, you're like, what's that got to do with immigration and peoples? Well, no one actually wants to shag anymore, is the problem. Nobody literally wants to have kids. So that means nobody's paying for your debt that you incurred as a slave, basically. Countries don't use actual money the way you would think money works. Governments have debt. I mean, it's like you, but it's not like you. So a country doesn't give a fuck at that point. They just decide what's next when it comes up. Who do we pay? Kind of shows. The Bank of England is independent from the British government. What does that even mean? A bank the government's own is independent. Ah, that's a funny joke. Who owns the bank then? If it's independent from the government, who owns that bank? And why do we pay the bank to give us back our own money at 4%? You're like, excuse me, Mr. This bot. What do you mean? We don't pay back the Bank of England. We do. A central bank is a conglomerate of private corporations. Barclays, JP Morgan, and all these nefarious other fucking retarded fucktards I could mention. But yes, they are the people who own central banks. We, as the plebs, we choose a middleman to negotiate the prices of your own existence. That's mental, isn't it? When you think about it. Fucking gangster. I used to love watching people talk about like the Illuminati. The Illuminati. They run the. Oh, I was like, nah. Gangsters run planet Earth, not the Illuminati. That's why this idiot exists. And that's why he's confused. Because he doesn't know this guy's an idiot because he's infecting his bald head with bullshit. So he's getting the wrong impression anyway. Terrible.
The more it goes up. If we're a bit more lax, it's a that's the thing. It's hard to sell a counterintuitive, paradoxical situation, but that is true. And also, there isn't.
Listen to him. He's trying to rationalize stupidity, which is quite funny when you think about it. Like if someone said, "I'm upside down," when I can clearly see that they're not upside down, that would be irrationality, right? That guy's doing the same shit. He's listening to something that is irrational and then tries to form a logical conclusion on irrationality. Basically YouTube in a nutshell, but whatever, I digress.
Many refugees as there has been in the past. There's still refugees, but Spain has taken more. If we all take our fair share throughout Europe, we disperse and take our own responsibility that we should as the UK. But again, I think Lewis Goodall is doing a good job here because this is the disingenuous question that Zach Polanski is actually going to have.
Hold on a minute. Wait, so you're saying everybody's welcome to our country? I mean, yes, clearly. But do you understand the national security implications of what you just said, please? Like, I think this guy only sees war as like bombs. He doesn't understand what you can do with people. If I pay fuckloads of people, let's say, I know, 100,000 people to cross a border, $10 a pop, and I print money, so it doesn't matter anyway. Do you think that other country with a very small population is going to feel the weight of that influx of people? Yes, they are. And that, my friend, is called warfare. Very simple. You've got no idea what you're dealing with, my friend.
Have to deal with because I think Lewis Goodall is probably going to vote Green Party. So, no anger towards Lewis Goodall necessarily.
Concerned Green Party in England and Wales, there's no limit on the numbers. There's no limit to the capacity we might be able to absorb realistically.
Well, we don't even need to have an abstract conversation about this because when Tony Blair said that he was going to open up the borders for migration, people came up with all sorts of scare numbers. But actually what happened is people came and people left. And that's how migration has always worked. Circular.
A lot of people came. 1 million people came from the EUA, and that led to Brexit partly.
Well, you have British people living.
What did he just say? 1 million people came from the AUA and that led to Brexit partly. What is he saying? Something that I don't know. Is he saying that Brexit was caused by immigrants from the EUA? What is that, like some mad conspiracy theory? I've never heard that before. Have you ever heard that before? Let me know if you ever heard a crazy comment like that, because that was fucking strange. Let's try that again.
Came and people left, and that's how migration has always worked. Circular.
A lot of people came. 1 million people came from the EUA, and that led to Brexit partly.
That's how migration has always worked. Circular.
A lot of people came. 1 million people came from the EUA, and that led to Brexit partly.
sort of scare numbers, but actually what happened is people came and people left, and that's how migration
million
has
people
always
came.
worked. Circular.
A lot of
Sorry?
people came. 1 million people came
lot of people
from the
came, a lot of
EUA,
people left.
and that led to Brexit partly.
That's the maddest shit I've ever heard in my life. That's mad. What's with the weird evil grin at the end of that weird mad shit? What?
Actually what happened is people came and people left, and that's how migration has
people
always
came.
worked. Circular.
A lot of
Sorry?
people came. 1 million people came
lot of people
from the
came, a lot of people
EUA,
left.
and that led to Brexit partly.
I hope he was being sarcastic. Okay. How could he be sarcastic then? Did you think that was sarcasm? Just... It can't be, can it? Because that makes no sense. But be sarcastic about it. Why mention the EUA? What? United... whatever the fuck's called. United Amazonas, yes. Right. What? So the okay. I live in England. The Gulf is all the way over there. Okay. What did you just say again? And Brexit?
Actually what happened is people came and people left, and that's how migration has
people
always
came.
worked. Circular.
A lot of
Sorry?
people came. 1 million people came
lot of people
from the
came, a lot of people
EUA,
left.
and that led to Brexit partly.
Did they vote? I'm so confused right now. So 1 million people came from one country and that led to Brexit. I'm very confused. Can anybody help me with this fucking weird shit? What do you mean by that? Just clarify it, bro. Is that a hard question? I'm gonna put this as a short. That's a weird question. Anyway. Right, what you wanna see? Well, clearly not that. Well, yes you do. The ladies, yes, ladies, come back. I love you too. Okay, so the ladies are still there, but they're just in the background because I'm doing that other fucking video, as you can tell. There's the ladies. Hello, ladies. How you doing? And then whatever I've just witnessed. Well, I don't know. So contemplate actually. Not Balderman. Balderman's fine. His name's Zach. Anyway. Let's keep going, Zach. And then we get to our ladies. There we go.
Well, you have British people living all over the world, and actually, I think there will always be push and pull factors. But I don't think we should want to live in a country where people don't want.
But you believe in local democracy.
No, I got the guy Zach. It's not Zach. His name's Anthony Jones. No, I would subscribe, but honestly, I subscribe to too much shit. But I did give him a like. See, I gave him a like. I disagree with the guy. But that's called an opinion. Don't fall over. But I'm using this video for my own opinion. So do not give him shit. He didn't do anything wrong. I'm just using this. I'm not actually replying to him, by the way. The dude in the corner. That guy, I'm not replying to him. He's fine. He can say what the fuck he wants. I'm replying to this guy, really, and the conversation, etc. Yeah, don't want to get sued or called my cunt. I mean, you can call me a cunt when appropriately, you know. So, but not in this case now. I'm just talking about this scummy cunt.
Don't you?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
what happens if local democracy says they're not welcome here?
Well, that's why we need to have leadership. And actually, what we have is Donald Trump says something one day, Nigel Farage says it the next day, and then Keir Starmer.
No, it's got nothing to do with Farage. It's got nothing to do.
Well, it has, because that's the media environment. Without Farage and these demagogues who tap into insecurities and concerns about immigration in disingenuous and often misinformed ways.
Should listen to this a bit more better. Now, for people who don't understand how ChatGPT works, it's a token predictor. So it guesses what you're going to say next, kind of. Or it tries to figure out what's the most logical query that you've inputted per space or whatever. Anyway, point is, this is very interesting, and like, listen to this question.
Well, it has, because that's the media environment. Without
Democracy.
Like,
where people don't want.
But you believe in local.
yeah, like, listen to this. So, he's posing a hypothesis. Like, listen carefully.
Democracy, don't you?
Yeah. Like, okay, so he's saying, do you agree with X? Do you agree X is X?
Yeah, absolutely.
And he just agreed X is X. So they both come to agreement that X is X. Gravity, whatever.
So what happens if local?
Now he's posing that there is no X anymore. I removed the X. Now I'm going to give you a hypothesis, or as we nerds call it, an if statement. So he's now proposing an if statement. Not a question. If statement. Hypothesis-ish. But cleverly hidden.
Democracy says they're not welcome here.
He's saying, if what happens when you're going to allow Nazis to be Nazis? But he's very clever in how he says it. He's not like he's not saying it, but he's saying it. It's like, but he's saying it out fucking loud to anyone with a brain. What happens when the fucking thugs take over? Well, we clearly don't want thugs, so we tell them to fuck off like we normally do. He's not asking, well, he's not telling and asking the question at the same time. He's being a slimy little cunt at the point. But that's a mad question to ask, because he's hypothesizing on that you may face this opposition. But then we did that. We went to war with a bunch of fucking non-spots. So it's not like we're not going to defend our island from racist fucking Nazis either. Domestic or foreign. Get the fuck out. It's not that hard, really. And if you're brainwashed to be a racist, then I feel sorry for you. It wasn't my fault. Blame your dad.
Well, that's why we need to have leadership. And actually, what we have is Donald Trump says something one day, Nigel Farage says it the next day, and then Keir Starmer.
No, it's got nothing to do with Farage. It's got nothing to do.
Well, it has, because that's the media environment. Without Farage and these demagogues who tap into insecurities and concerns about immigration in disingenuous and often misinformed ways, yes, you do get that. You do get Brexit. You do get lies about immigrants. Even you saying that there's millions of refugees, actually no, we're at the lowest numbers we've been in decades. So yes, actually Farage and the...
It's actually true. Refugees are not the same as economic migrants. It's different ways to measure things. And you can come here as an economic migrant and then claim asylum. I mean, you can kind of do both. But the point is, some of it can be a weapon by Russia, which I fully believe, honestly. I mean, if I was in the army or whatever, MI5, you know, the brass, I'd be like, that's pretty big, innit? We should probably track where that's coming from. You could find it. I mean, it's like going for a piss in the middle of the night and you can't find a fucking light, but you still know where the bathroom is and you still manage to take a piss without killing yourself, clearly. So, a bit like that. We know where they're coming from. We put satellites in spaces. You don't think they don't have like cameras on them and shit? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like they know it. They can, like, I remember when I was a kid reading an article about a fucking telescope in space. I don't know, the fucking military in the United States. It could read the fucking newspaper. And I'm like, that's fucking mental, innit? And it was like when I was a kid. And I'm a fossil, so how fucking better. These things could fucking tweet. They could fucking twerk in space, so for all fucking I know. I mean, fucking weird little contraptions that they are. So yeah, the whole idea that we don't know where these people come from, it feels bizarre. Not to just point out the obvious, Occam's razor, and also we can see it today. In Belarus are doing the exact same thing. I think to Poland. They're literally paying people to just cross the border, knowing that they just like stay there because the law says you need to treat humans kindly. Like it says that. It says if a human comes in your country, be nice. Well, that's a fucking stupid weapon, isn't it? Well, it's not even a fucking weapon. It's like it's a back door. It's like fucking Trojan fucking horse. If you want to, like, I don't know, turn a country fucking insane, just send loads of weirdos there. We got paid. I say good luck. If you think I'm overreaching in my assumption or my conclusion, one would put it, then I would say you're mad because we can see it. Humans will literally do anything on YouTube for any money. So if I gave somebody a tenner to be a fucking tramp and get on a plane that I paid for, what do you think they're gonna do? If that tenner is the best thing they've ever seen ever, and I just spin them a yarn about having a beautiful life, they're fucking toast. But they don't care. Like Americans don't care about politics in their own country. Which will bring us back to our lovely ladies over here. Because this girl, lady, girl, stupid, girl, ladies, anyway. Can I make that smaller? Tiddly. Okay, right. So these lovely ladies, Emma, I used to follow Emma before she even did the Minority Report. Like I don't know if she's with Sam Cedar or any, like I don't know. It's like I don't give a fuck. But anyway, she's on the Minority Report now, and I followed her when she's just a normal YouTuber. She started out actually just doing like mad shite YouTube videos, being a massive Bernie bro. Like that's literally how I know her. She was a massive Bernie bro. When Bernie Sanders first ran to be the president, I fucking love that, honestly. Clearly, it's a political fucking junkie. Shout out to the OG political junkie, by the way. Yeah, I that's how I found Emma, and then she joined the Minority Report, which is kind of like a left-leaning podcast thingy. I would say it's not radical left. It's not like fucking Young Turk left. But I don't like Sam Cedar somewhat. Not because he's not a nice person. I don't like how he frames things. Whatever. It's a taste issue. It's not really like I hate the left. Anyway, I digress. So the ladies are talking kind of about like the same shit these guys talking about, but in a different frame. Because the way he's talking about like the freedom, and you can see authoritarianism, blah 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 in the background on the other one. This one, that's what it says. Like, why is that a thing, right? Because it's about the state. So we're talking about the state.
Shit weaponizes Christianity out in rural Oklahoma, and he Christian signals and he Jesus signals, and he just throws out a few things to say, hey, I'm one of yours. And then he completely rapes and pillages every sense of autonomy or any sort of social safety net they could possibly have. We've gone from 16 years ago, we had a Democratic governor. We were 14th in education. MAGA supermajority policies, we are dead last in education. So I have empathy for those people because they've been lied to and manipulated. The people I have no fucking empathy for are country club white Republicans that played a short-term game. They know Trump's a nut. They know that he's surrounded by a bunch of nuts, and they played the short term. I want my 401k to be great. And I know he's a racist. I know he's a sexist. I know that, you know, these women that are getting raped in certain states can't have access to health care, but I don't give a shit because I'm just a capitalist. When they lose all of their money, I'm not going to feel empathy for them. But the other two, I do feel empathy.
I mean, honestly, like, don't you agree she would make a better president than the president? Like, honestly, like, that's just... She doesn't even need to try. Just, oh, wow. She's just, like, common sense. You should follow her show, actually. I mean, honestly, like, it's called, what the fuck is it called, actually? Because they got 2 shows. Or 2 YouTube channels. So I don't know which one to quote. I don't know which one would be better for them, I suppose. Yeah, it's kind of like it's just like they got like a no fucks one and then like a loose one. But anyway, follow them. You'll see in the description down there. Oh shit. Where's me thing on? Okay, good. It's down here. Hopefully it will in fans majority report. No, it's all this shit. Oh, it's this. So it's only this shit in there. Okay, well I'll put it. But anyway, I'll show it. Well, can I close that? Yes, I commented. Show less. I did comment because I thought it was good. Well, if I didn't fucking comment, I wouldn't be able to. Clearly. Anyway, let's keep going.
For.
I totally agree with you, and you mentioned some of the Christo-fascism of this administration. I want to play this clip from Charlie Kirk's memorial, which it was filled with pyrotechnics and speeches by Donald Trump and other political figures, where it seems like everybody's last conversation with Charlie Kirk validated all of their politics prior to this. But Benny Johnson, MAGA influencer, who I don't know if he was responsible for the grinder outage at the event. I mean, it could have been him. It could have been anybody, honestly, just due to overuse. Here he is speaking, and you can pick up a lot of what Jennifer is saying here about like the Christo-fascist elements of this movement.
The Apostle Paul describes how God establishes the rulers of the nations.
So crypto-fascist, bro. That's just religious. Religious people being religious. I don't understand it. The United States has a separation of church and state. But yeah. Full of religious zealots. It's kind of funny, don't you think? And the religious zealots, yeah, they're taking over, bro. They're taking over.
In the audience right now, there are rulers of our land. Represented right here is the State Department, the Department of War, the Department of Justice, the Chief Executive. God has instituted them. God has given them power over our nation and our land. God saved our president, President Trump, from an assassin's bullet for this moment.
That's some next level creepy shit. You ever seen a movie They Live? It's kind of like that. Like, are they all lizards? I mean, no wonder people think lizards are real. They fucking act like lizards. I mean, they act so weird, you'd think they were aliens. Isn't that the point? Isn't that the connection? They are so fucking weird that you wouldn't think, nah, that's stupid. You're this real. Oh, maybe. Maybe they're fucking weird aliens. what are you doing? Like, what is this? Like, if I put that in a video game, people are like, oh, that's some sci-fi mad shit, that, bro. I'm like, no, that's actually real life. Like, look at it. Look at that. Look at it. If I made a movie, it'd be so fucking dystopian. And I don't even need to imagine a fucking up planet. Just video my own fucking planet. And be like, it's sci-fi. No. You live here. That would be a good sci-fi movie to watch, right? The fucking irony of shit we all thought was in the movie is actually a fucking real life scenario.
And what does the Apostle Paul in Romans say about a godly leadership? He says that rulers wield the sword for the protection of good men and for the terror of evil men. May we pray that our rulers here.
Okay, I think we get the gist. I like how.
Yeah, he's on crack. Like, I don't know what kind of crack he's smoking, but that's some kind of heavy ass crack. Like, proper. Like, what?
How men are both the protagonists and antagonists. Women are just along for the ride. God saved the president, but wanted the
men on men action.
Right, wanted the firefighter to die at the rally, and then I guess also had to sacrifice Charlie Kirk for this moment is the implication from Benny Johnson.
He works in mysterious ways.
I mean, so this is what they do. This is what is Christian signaling, Jesus signaling, and this is what, as being an atheist Democrat in a red state my whole life, I see that these politicians do. And when you think about people in rural America, they don't fucking know what's going on in Gaza. And I don't want to step on anybody's toes. They don't care. That is the part of rural America is simply, you get up. My husband's from rural Oklahoma. He's a criminal defense attorney. And he said, you get up, you try to, grind your way through your day. Nobody's making any money. Everybody's broke. Half the people are on meth. And then you watch Wheel of Fortune. And then you say, who can I blame for my shitty life? Fox News serves up who you can blame, who you're going to scapegoat, those immigrants, those trans people, those drag queens, those lesbians. We had a guy who ran for Senate in Oklahoma, and he campaigned in rural Oklahoma that lesbians were a huge problem in eastern Oklahoma, which I would say there is kind of a fine line between cowgirls and lesbians. Sometimes you're kind of like, could go either way. But right. They Christian signal, and it works with them because their only form of culture or home or social life is in these churches, and the churches are hell, fire, damnation. You're no good. You need to be saved. And so the two, for me, I was not surprised that Christians clung on to Trump because I've always been at the top of prayer list. Everybody's always been trying to save me my whole life. And they are very primed for this type of cruelty talk. When friends would take me to go get me saved, the preachers sound exactly like Donald Trump. They sound
like, listen to what she's saying. It's crazy, like brainwashing. That's how, like, I don't think she speaks. Like, she's so brilliant. And so is Potter as well. This is also good. But I just like, she's just honest. We need more of this in. I wish more people like her could be people who actually run shit. I mean, it sounds logical that she would make good choices, right? Hopefully. She sounds normal to me. She needs a job, clearly, in the government. Can we just elect people with actual brains? I said these fucking, whatever they are, that we elect. I don't know.
exactly like Benny Johnson. So it's familiar.
I know you've spoken about this a bit with your co-host Pumps about her upbringing versus yours. Her growing up in a more traditional Christian household in the United States. Like, how has your friendship kind of informed that? One, and two, if you could expand on the element about churches only being like the only form of community, because I think that's really important. It's why cities are so scary to, I think, conservatives, is because you interact with all different kinds of people and you're in such close proximity that you have more options to form community. Although I think capitalism largely limits it because we're so on a razor's edge about our next paycheck or whatever. But like that element, I think, is really important. And this is a very drawn out question, but when I used to go cover Trump rallies, I was going to one Trump rally a week in the lead up to 2020. And it felt like when I went to mega church with my aunt, like it was the same vibe, and it is a form of community, a perverse one, but it's because there are no other ones.
Totally. So, I had a really unique upbringing. My parents, atheists. I don't know why we were in the buckle of the Bible Belt, but we were. I was born in Dallas, then moved to Oklahoma City when I was in grade school. And my parents traveled all the time, but I grew up around all of these really religious people. And so when I never fit in with them because I was never indoctrinated. You know how today the rapture is supposed to come on Christian Talk? They're talking about it.
Wouldn't
When
it be
I was in-
hilarious if we got raptured just right here on air?
Love it. I love
mean,
it.
two
Oklahoma
atheists
City would be so tolerable. I want it to happen. But I remember when I was in 8th grade, I was a Brink Bobcat cheerleader, go Bobcats. And everybody that I went to middle school with was like, the rapture's coming, the rapture's coming, the rapture's coming. I tell my mom, she'd go, oh, for God's sakes, Jennifer, that's ridiculous. These Christians are so intellectually stupid. And, the football game came and went, the rapture never came. But it's this cult-like thing, and there's all this pressure to be involved in it. I'm so grateful that I was never indoctrinated in it, because what we have right now is a bunch of people that are suffering the consequences of religious abuse. And my co-host, Pumps, she suffered the consequences of religious abuse. Now, her parents didn't set out to do this. The structures that they were raised in earnestly set her to be raised in the same structures. But if you're told...
I love Pumps. Pumps is a co-host on the show. Pumps is like a friend. Been friends for years or whatever. Pumps is funny as fuck as well. I call her Miss Nipples. Not because like it's derogatory, but she literally said, well, they told a joke. I don't know why they told it. It wasn't even a joke. They were just talking mad. And she said she used to like spin coat hangers on her nipples, which I literally fucking died laughing because I was like, okay, she's honest. It's a political podcasting thing, but honestly, they're so down to earth. Like this, I think these ladies are the best of America. Like that. I mean, America's pretty dire. Like if you're just a rational person, it just seems pretty shit. Like. I mean, England's shit, the UK shit, but we know that anyway, right? We know our own shit, but we're better than America, right? For now. I mean, fuck knows, it could fucking get worse, but it's better for now. But these ladies do a brilliant job. I mean, Emma, whatever. Emma's Emma. I've known her for a long time anyway, so I'm not gonna like shit on her. If you know who Emma is, then you know from like the first time Benny ran for president. She did a lot of work. She's on a Minority Report right now because she worked her ass off to try and get Benny elected. If you know, you know. Anyway, let's go.
When you're born, that you're inherently bad. And I had a boyfriend in high school, Emma, whose dad was a Baptist preacher. And he got grounded for 3 months for beating off when he was 16 years old. Like the shame of that is incredibly
what that does to you.
Abusive. And so then you see Grindr crashing, and you see all of these MAGA people that have all of this child essay stuff on their phones. And I think you have like a mass psychosis of people that are suffering from religious abuse. So when they have things like this, where they can all get together to feel normal, and then the propaganda administration they know exactly what they're doing by using religion in this way. And there's so many people, this is all they know. And I think this is what's so insidious about what Charlie Kirk did. He knew, and the people that funded him knew, that for all of these megachurch people in suburban, rural America. They did exactly what their parents told them to do. They prayed at the flagpole. They did Bible study, circle jerks, etc. Circle jerk, pun intended. Pun intended
Metaphorically.
there. Right.
Yeah.
And so then they go to college, and that's the first time they're free. They're liberated. They can maybe make their own script. And that's what's so dangerous and insidious about what Charlie Kirk did. They intentionally wanted him placed at a time where free thought could be uninterrupted. And he went there to interrupt it in Christian signal. And so, the right always accuses us of virtue signaling. And probably we're guilty of that. And I don't think that's something we should necessarily apologize for. But weaponizing your faith against people who inherently have some questions like, did Noah really load up all those animals and get on the boat? Like, I had friends that literally believe that. Pumps,
Right.
my co-host, she told me one time she thought people lived to be 950 years old. And she had been to law school. Imagine that, been to law school, but was indoctrinated not to critically think, not to ask questions. And that's what's so egregious and horrible about Turning Point's activities, is they're stunting the growth. And then you're going to have more broken, damaged people, because that's the perfect petri dish for MAGA to get all of their supporters.
It is interesting to me, too, how the relationship with Trump also almost mirrors, not to psychoanalyze them too much, but it's kind of fun, mirrors a relationship with almost like an abusive father, where it feels like love, where he's abusing them, and you just take it because there's no, it seems like, healthy emotional reaction or critical thought that
But
could
Emma,
allow
I think
you.
it's bigger than that. I think it mirrors the relationship with the Old Testament God.
There you go. There you go. Well, I mean, he stands in as Jesus. And you heard Mike Pence. I don't know if you read that interview with him a few years ago, back when he was still vice president. He described how, Trump is this imperfect vessel, but he feels like God is speaking through him, and serving him is like serving God. And I don't know how you get from point A to point B, except for the fact that Trump is like charismatic and omnipresent, charismatic in his own perverse way, and leading a coalition of religious fundamentalists.
Yeah, I mean, I was not surprised, because when all of my friends were trying to save me when I was in junior high and high school, and I would lie to my mother and say, hey, I'm going to go spend the night with this person. She'd be like, don't go to that church. Of course, I immediately went to the church because I wanted to fit in with my friends, right? And so I remember this one church I went to in particular. It was called Crossroads Cathedral. And my friend Shonda and her mother drove me there, and they were working class people. My family was more upper middle class. And Shonda's mom worked at UPS, really sweet lady named Debbie. And we pull up to 7-Eleven, and she has a cup in her car full of coins with a $20 bill at the top. And she said, you girls pump the gas and one of you go pay. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go pay. Shonda, you pump the gas. So I grabbed the $20 bill and I'm going to take it into 7-Eleven. She wanted us to put $5 in. She goes, no, Jennifer, that 20 is for the pastor. It's for the church. Count out the coins. And so I was like, well, that's fucked up. But I did as I was told. I counted out the coins. We pull up to Crossroads Cathedral in South Oklahoma City. And right at the same time, this white Rolls Royce pulls up. And this guy gets out, Pastor Schaefer is his name, and he has on a white suit and a white mink coat. His wife gets out, and she has total Tammy Faye vibes, Righteous Gemstone. The big eyelashes, a white mink coat. We go inside, and they start doing all this Bible thumping and talking in tongues and talking about demons and all this fucking crazy shit. It was the most terrifying thing I've ever been around. And here's Debbie, who had a black eye because her husband had roughed her up a few nights before, giving $20 to this grifter, this total lying sack of shit, Pastor Schaefer. And so when Trump started doing that, I thought, this is familiar to them. This type of abusive, lying, grifting relationship is familiar, and the cognitive dissonance that it takes to both love your pastor and overlook all of his moral, obvious shortcomings is very familiar to this base. So I think that my perspective, having been raised in the Death Star I'm not shocked that Christians like him. I know people on the coast were shocked. I was not shocked one bit. He's mean. He traffics in cruelty. Every single church that I went to where my friends tried to get me saved, the same thing. It was the same kind of talking, rambling, whacked out shit that Trump does.
He is a glorified megachurch pastor, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, that is fascinating. That really solves a lot of, I think, questions, that maybe people have about that relationship because of, all of the things that should be antithetical because of his complete, depravity individually. That all got washed away for that reason. Can we talk a little bit more about Kirk as well? Because I had forgotten, I guess, and this is, my privilege too, but I remembered all of his bigoted statements, towards Black people, towards Palestinians, towards basically anybody, trans people, gay people, what have you. But his anti-Blackness was so acute. And I think, back to what you were talking about earlier, about people being surprised that someone looks like you or even someone that looks like me is speaking honestly about what Kirk's legacy is and what the impact is of the right now. Like, where do you view your responsibility in that? Because our leadership isn't doing it. And the idea that we should just throw more marginalized groups under the bus to appease this fascist churn, it is going to gobble us all up. There has to be a firm line here. And I think that there were a lot of people that were genuinely hurt to see the whitewashing of the things that he said. I mean, Black Americans in this country in particular, I think, because it was so horrific. And then you have the Senate unanimously voting to make a Remembrance Day for him, and just a few dozen Democrats in the House standing up here. But among the base, this is a consensus opinion, basically.
Yeah. So as a white American, I think all of us should aspire to be cookout approved whites. And I think we need to align ourselves with the Black community the way you will your own. And until we have that type of rock solid allyship, you see people make excuses for the racism and that exists all the time. And as a white person who grew up in a white suburban world, I hear racism all the time. And you have to stand up and you have to defend your Black and brown brothers and sisters. The whitewashing of his legacy is so abhorrent and hurtful. It hurts me to see it, but it's also a reminder of all of the white racists that I've been around in my life. And I think that what the Democrats have done by voting to honor is just an absolute, total fucking disgrace. I think they should be ashamed of themselves. I think that I do not understand how somebody like Hakeem Jeffries, that is a Black man, can vote to honor a man who trafficked in racist cruelty and made Black people less safe and demeaned.
And who is this winning over? I mean, that's the other thing.
It's so weird.
Yeah. Donors,
It's so weird. I just think that our responsibility is to call out what everybody sees with their own eyes and hears with their own ears, saying, you saw and you heard Charlie Kirk be a racist and you were correct. That's it.
Yeah.
You don't have to spin it. You don't have to revisionist history it. Let people know what you saw is correct. He was a man that profited off of racist. And then what you also saw is correct. Bizarrely, a Black man just voted to honor him. It's fucking crazy.
It's crazy. But it shows, I think, the rot right now at the core of the Democratic Party, unfortunately. I mean, the reality is that voters, they're there. The voters are ready. The voters are ready for a transformational candidate. They're ready for a change in leadership. And yet the party's responsiveness has been non-existent, it feels like, especially at the very top. You have a select few. You have AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Zohran Mamdani, who you had on your show, which I'd love for you to give your thoughts on too. And you have governors, like I think Pritzker's done a good job, and Van Hollen in the Senate, and of course Bernie Sanders. But part of what is happening here is that Trump is able to fill vacuums.
Actually, I think the most, I would say the most eloquent speaker out of all of them is Pritzker. I think it would make a great president of the United States. J.B. Pritzker. Fucking, I just like, he doesn't even try and impress me. He's got something about him that I see that is like legit. Gavin Newsom always thinks he's like in a fucking movie. Every time I look at Gavin Newsom, I just think Hollywood. It's annoying. I don't know. Pritzker, I think, would be a better president. That's just my opinion. But I think Pritzker, dark horse, wink wink.
Vacuums because vacuums are being left purposefully, and all they're trying to do is hang on by their fingernails until the midterms, but the impacts are still going to happen. I mean, the Chuck Schumer is just waiting for an excuse to cave on the government shutdown right now. And I don't understand how you can demonstrate, like, the party is so unpopular, and part of the problem is that people don't think they stand for anything, and so their answer is, let's not stand for anything harder.
I cannot understand it. I have been sitting here trying to understand it, and I think that they're basically beholden to the same corporations that got MAGA elected. And so you have a opposition party that is MAGA light. And I think obviously the AIPAC money plays a huge, huge role in this. And I can always use Cory Booker as a prime example for this. We've had him on our podcast. I liked him. He was feisty. He spoke about, equality, and he spoke up for democracy, blah, blah, blah. Then he did the 25-hour barn burner. I'm not going to sleep. I'm not going to pee. I'm fighting for democracy.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go, Cory. And then he's playing peekaboo photograph with Benjamin Netanyahu. And I'm like, say what? Are you kidding me? So now everything that Cory says, he's not a credible messenger to me. And people say that, oh, the left, you want everybody, you have this purity issue. That's not it. We have a credibility issue. We want you to be a credible messenger. You don't have to be pure. If Cory Booker or Hakeem Jeffries right now, because we're so desperate and beggars can't be choosers, if they said, we're fucked up about the AIPAC money.
I was wrong.
We're in the fight of our lives. Please get behind me. We can duke it out later. I would be first in line, because MAGA moved Trump far to the right. We can move our leaders further to the left, and we can't just be dismissive of them. But if they continue to dismiss us, then I'm going to go after them. I'm going to walk and chew gum. I'm going to go after Trump, who I call Kanks. I'm going to go after Little Smokey, who, of course, is failed drag queen, vice president, J.D. Vance, Smokey Eye sociopath, which we refer to as Little Smokey. Mm-hmm. And you can imagine what I mean by that, but the smoky eye and a small
I like
penis.
The visual you're giving right now.
And a small penis. And
thanks for the podcast audience, so they know.
We can go after all of these things, but we cannot give these complicit Democrats a pass. We have to go after them as well.
Right. And it's about making the opposition party stronger. That's what it's about. And I think most people are kind of on board with that. It's just that the party apparatus is completely sclerotic right now. Lastly, you mentioned some of your favorite nicknames. I've been using Kanks in conversations. I've gotten my mom to listen to your show too, so we'll call him Kanks on the phone with each other. So thanks for giving us something to laugh about.
Yeah.
Kanks, you got a Little Smokey. Who are your other favorite? What's some of your other
Eric
favorite?
Eric and Don
nicknames?
are Dumb and Dumber.
Mm-hmm.
Eric and Don Jr.
Yeah.
Of course, Eric being dumber and Don Jr. being dumb. So Dumb and
Damn,
Dumber.
really? I would go the other way.
You really would? You think Eric's dumb and Don Jr.'s dumber?
I don't know. That's really tough. Matt's thinking really hard over there.
Usually you would say the blonde is dumber, but I think Eric is smarter than Don Jr.
I think Eric might be, but
Here's the thing about Eric.
Yeah.
You know that Lara Trump, you know that when she's sitting there at Fox News, Eric's balls are just right in her cleavage. I mean, you can almost just feel it. You know that she's just got them all twisted up.
Yeah. I mean, how else would they let a woman in with the Trump last name run for higher office? She must just have to like be that kind of woman.
Well, it's just amazing to me how easy these MAGA men either emasculate themselves or how easy they are to emasculate. Like, I just don't think we talk enough about, JD Vance is a failed drag queen that changed his name 3 times as an adult. And in a normal world that wouldn't, whatever. But he is a failed drag queen, leader of a party that's anti-drag, banning books.
Yeah.
I just think, from time to time, I always just remind our audience, we need to remember that he tried to be a drag queen and he failed. And then we show the photographs of how terrible he was at doing drag.
Right, yeah, the match is set off. Camera. Hitler trying to be an artist, yeah.
Mike Johnson. I call him Moses Mike because he said on camera that, when he was becoming Speaker of the House, that God, he says this, he goes, God woke me up in the middle of the night and he's like, hey, buddy, I think you're going to be Moses. And I'm just like, the fact that we have the Speaker of the House who claims that God woke him up in the middle of the night, tapped him on the shoulder and told him he was going to be Moses and part the sea and be the Speaker of the House is fucking crazy. And we also have to talk about the fact that Mike Johnson lives with this evangelical preacher. They're roommates. The evangelical preacher was spotted by neighbors answering the door in his panties one time as Mike got home from work. All right. This evangelical preacher is connected to this guy in Nashville who is a multimillionaire.
You can't make this shit up. It's like, I'm stoned. I'm perplexed. Like, what the fuck?
Car guy, big Christian guy, who's when his wife divorced him, accused him in the divorce filings of forcing her to watch gay porn. Mike Johnson also has all these pray the gay away conversion camps.
He has an app on his phone where he monitors, him and his son monitor each other to hold them accountable so they're not jacking off, which is normal.
Yeah, so they're not watching gay porn.
Right.
So Moses Mike is a good one. We call Ron DeSantis Kitten Heels, Governor Kitten Heels, because he always wears a little booster because he's so
yes,
short.
Yes, he does. I forgot about that.
We call Mark Wayne Mullins, the senator from our state, when he questions people. We're ranked 50th in education. And he says, when was you fired? We call him Booster Box Mullins because he also stands on a booster box when he's at the podium. And they just the nicknames just kind of come to us.
Well, it's great because, go ahead, Matt.
Is there one for Ryan Walters, the superintendent that you guys got over there in Oklahoma? Because I really don't like that guy.
No, we hate him. Here's the thing, Matt. It's so awful to cover local politics. I don't watch it at all. So I only see Ryan Walters, and he's on the local news all the time when he comes on the national news. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. But here's the thing about Ryan Walters. There is a local blogger named The Lost Ogle, and he has these people that are called the Ogle Moles. Somebody sent him, and you can Google it and find the picture. Ryan Walters is sitting on a bench with this guy, and they're touching each other's inner thighs. It's totally gay. It's just as gay as it gets, right? Which comes as a surprise to no one that he's slapping, tickling when he's not buying Trump Bibles, right? And so,
or accidentally screening porn
for
the people that he works with, which is another story that accidentally screens retro nudie flick for school board members.
Accidentally.
Whoops! This was a glitch. That just happened.
That's amazing. The fact that you're combating Trump has really fallen off in the nickname game, so you're filling a vacuum here for righteousness. We'll read some IMs because people want have many thoughts and much love for you, Jennifer. Before we let you go,
I'm stoned. I'm gonna go. But yeah, Jen and Plum. Awesome. Check them out. It's called I've Had It. That's the show. But the one I want you to subscribe to is called I've Had It. That lady there, the southern lady, she's the host. And then a friend Plum with the nipples. She's the host. But yeah, just watch it. I've had it. Honestly, as a UK person who loves politics, I like all kinds of strange shit to follow, clearly. I don't do it as much as I used to. They're brilliant. They really are. And funny as fuck as well. Like, she doesn't care. She'll just swear. She'll just call them fascists, which they are. Which is brilliant. She just, I mean, she does more truth than fucking MSNBC. Put it that way. Anyway, ta-ra. Baffled enough. You think what's that got to do with anything and authoritism is because the right wing are coming for us. And their weapon is stupidity en masse. Remember.